Hey everybody, Alex here, and welcome to another episode of Momentum Charting. Today is the post-market wrap-up for Friday. We are going to be talking about the QQQ, and as the title states, potential warning signs in place. But before we do that, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Please hit the bell notification. Doing both of those will let YouTube know you want to see more of my content. You get updates for all the QQQ stuff that's going to be going on in the next couple weeks, which I think is going to be significant. After you do that, hit the like button. Doing all three of those will ensure that you are able to stay up to date with all my latest updates on QQQ and all your favorite stocks. So with that out of the way, let's dive into this. So guys, I believe today and some part yesterday's trading session, so we've really marked here what I believe are some significant warning signs in place for a potential area of a pullback. To which degree, we don't know yet. We're going to need to watch this carefully, what's happening here. But I have officially put the brakes on most of my long entries and waiting for some pullbacks in the QQQ and the larger indices, and I'm going to show you why I believe we could be in for a period of some turmoil of some degree over the next couple of weeks. And after that, let's see where it takes us. Pullback zones, we're going to have to wait and see. But I believe the order of the day right now is to be extremely cautious moving into next week with long entries, and especially with the Qs. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. I am on TradingView. Nothing significant as far as trend lines on the daily. That's why I'm queued up here to the 1 hour. We've got this 1 hour trend line in place since May 19th and just came down in the last hour of trading today and tagged this trend line. Is this in itself a warning sign? No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. You know, you come right back up here and break this. Everything looks hunky-dory, but I'm going to show you some more things and more causes for concern here in a second. Obviously, we have no idea what the reaction is going to be Monday. If it's going to officially break this trend line to the downside. Looks like you've got a fairly strong area of support right here, right around 355.58 approximately. So we are going to need to be very cautious moving forward on the QQQ, and I'm going to show you exactly why. Area to kind of cancel what my sort of correction mode that I think is going to happen over the next possibly couple of weeks. Break above these levels here at 365 and start moving back to the upside. So this is a significant level here, as well as the 355 level also bears some significance, obviously, and also a break of this 1 hour trend line to the downside would be sort of the first chink in the armor of this nice uptrend we've had in place since May. So yes, this 1 hour trend line has not broken to the downside, and yet neither has the support at around 355. Neither of those events have happened, but I'm going to go over to our favorite momentum indicator, which I often like to use in conjunction with my trend lines to get an idea of what is happening, potential areas of breakout, and the general momentum of what's happening in trends, to see if we can kind of get a secondary look on what's going on with certain charts. And in the case of the QQQs, I am on the chart right now, SQQQ, which is to me is always an interesting chart. You kind of sometimes it's really hard to imagine charts flipped and reversed. You're used to trying to see if charts go up or down. I like to view from the side of straight, going from bottom to top. So for me, kind of this chart of the SQQ in some degree is helpful. And what you can see here, oh, if you don't know, the SQQ is the inverse of the QQQ. So SQQQ up, QQQ's down. It's called the ProShares Ultra Short QQQ. Okay, so if price basically on the SQQQ, if price here was to go up, that would mean the Qs are falling down. Okay, so I'm here on our momentum chart, and what I am seeing is what potentially could be a significant series of positive divergent bottoms along this trend line here. Okay, one, that's not exactly hitting this trend line, but it still could potentially be in play as a positive divergent bottom, which it is, even though it hasn't hit this trend line. It's still part of this greater trend since December 2020. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you can see this has been a very, very clean acting trend line in place for about 8-9 months now. So what's happened here is that right at this support, it appears on the SQQQ that we have broken two significant downtrends, okay, on this pullback of momentum back to the support line. And it appears as though we are now starting to break out to the upside. It looks to me like this bottom trend has formed fairly nicely. You've got this, which is significant, and this breakout of this double top, which is significant. And you can see here now, price has moved nicely above both of those zones. Okay, so that's on the SQQQ. Now, this could be the first sign, the very first signs of danger in the market. You know, not to have the warning bells go crazy quite yet, because this may not pan out like we think it is. It's possible, yes, that this just rolls over, breaks this downtrend starting in next week. I don't think that's going to happen, although it's possible. I think to a certain extent this upward sloping trend line of momentum is rather significant, and especially that we've broken and put a nice bottom formation in place here and headed back up to the upside. So I think what is much more likely is that we start trending up, much like we did here in April, and find some sort of top in the SQQQs, and from there start a pullback. And even let me get this line in place, which might be significant to some degree as well. Putting stuff here in place so that we can continue to monitor it. Now, here in April 14th, we got a nice bottom formation in place. So we had a break of the diagonal trend line here, and we had this nice little double top here. 12th of April, 14th of April, broke that to the upside and broke out right in these zones around April 19th this year. So you can see what happened here once this broke out. The markets, again, SQQ, when it goes up, markets retreat. So you can kind of see here what we ended up doing was this short-term pop, and then came back down here for a double bottom at a support right at around the 1055 level. And all of that happened while momentum was continuing to explode to the upside. Okay, so where are we at here in that scenario? Well, we don't have any double bottom in play as of yet. You can see here last time we bottomed was 864, and the most recent one was 832. So this area to me potentially is looking sort of like the area around April 21st where the markets got really choppy for a week. And I'll show you that on the Qs when we get to that. But it was up, down, up, down, up, down. The markets got really choppy for a week until we put this double bottom in here on price. And I'm expecting something similar to that is going to take place in the SQQQ, which would mean a lot of volatility and a lot of choppiness in the Qs entering next week, okay? And eventually we come down, sort of like we did here. We came up, came down, came up, formed this double bottom. So I think there's a strong chance of that. We play around for a week or so, come back down here to around the 834 level again, and then after that, that is potentially, to me, when we start the pullback in the Qs, okay, which you can see here starting around 1088 and came all the way up to 1313 over the period of May 3rd to May 13th. So, 10 trading days, 9, 10 trading days, whatever exactly it is. But the volatility you can see in here continued at a high degree for 2 weeks. And I believe that there is a very, very strong chance of exactly that happening. The thing here that gives me some hope that this downtrend won't be that bad, perhaps we come up here and just tag this trend line, downsloping trend line of momentum, and break back down and start doing some sort of triangle in here. Now, I don't know for sure if that's going to happen. And again, I don't know for sure if we aren't going to come down here and just roll over into next week. But I don't think so, again, just because these series of positive divergent lows and the breakout from this bottom, it really appears to me like that is rather significant. And we are going to start getting very, very choppy, very shaky, and potentially set for a somewhat significant pullback, okay, in the Qs. Not huge, I don't think, yet. I don't think we're ready for that, but we need to be prepared. So, again, guys, as you can see here, this trend really did take some time to fully develop. You can see here, kind of like from these lows at around April 16th. Then a couple days later, it came up, which is sort of like what we've had here, pulled up after a couple trading days, down, up, down, up, down over, let's see, again, April 16th to April 29th. So almost 2 full weeks of trading, right? We just had this nasty, choppy, sideways volatility. And I think there's a strong chance that we could get exactly something like that over the next couple of weeks of trading. So I just want everybody to be very careful and just be fully aware of the type of volatility that we could be headed for in the Qs in the next week and change. So as you can see here, this is very, very unlikely. Let me zoom in here so you can get a better look at it. This is very, very unlikely, if not impossible, to just from here head straight up, okay? That's never what happens on these trends. What always happens is you start seeing a series of ups, downs, higher lows, higher highs, pullbacks. So we're going to be looking for some type of action like that. The first thing I'm going to be doing in this trend is to be looking for something like this right here that we had here in the period of April 21st to April 28th over a period of a week or so. Something to play out here, put in some sort of a high. Who knows, maybe even Monday it could happen, right? It's possible. Pull back, mess around here a little bit, and then break out. And that would be my first signal here that yes, indeed, markets are starting to get very, very choppy, very shaky, and we need to be very, very careful moving forward. if and when this first breakout occurs. Again, straight up from here, probably not going to happen. Very, very low odds. We'll get some sort of pullback in here, and if the market does start going down, a pullback of some degree, and we'll be able to see a move to a higher high, which would be rather significant to me as far as a potential pullback in the Qs. So that's what I'm looking at over the next couple of weeks, guys, in the Qs. Obviously, this plays into the SPY as well, since the Qs, the Nasdaq is a big part of the S&P. So all markets here, I'm kind of I wouldn't say thin ice, but I am being very, very careful, very cautious with every single one of my entries moving forward, especially over the next 2 to 3 weeks. I really want to see exactly how this plays out and see if we can get some return into a negative momentum scenario on the SQQs and the positive, obviously, on the Qs to start breaking up. So these are my warning signs. This, yes, officially the 1 hour downtrend hasn't broken, nor has this support at 355. But what could happen here next week? We start off the day bullish, break up into these zones, and do maybe sort of a double top scenario thing here. Come back down and then break this here. Or alternatively, what I think is possible, we break through on Monday and then pop up, move all the way up to the upside over the next week of trading, and then again put in some perhaps divergence here on the 1 hour, and then start moving down from these levels here, right? And I do expect this to get really volatile over the next couple weeks. We're going to need to watch everything that's happening in the markets very carefully to see exactly what's going to happen if and when we get this pullback. Again, very, very significant to me if we can break these levels at 365 and start just moving up again from here, which would be a breakdown of this upward sloping trend line in the SQQQs and a couple of other things. A lot would have to break our way, in my humble opinion, for that to happen. Right now, I think we're in for a period of volatility. Be very cautious in these areas. Lastly, on the Qs, let me just pull up the chart of the QQQs. I've got my momentum chart here. Okay, and you can see clearly here we have broken down through the first significant trend line on the momentum and headed down for the second and last sort of line of defense on the momentum of the Qs. Now, sometimes what happens, obviously, is you break through and then have these big pullbacks up and back test momentum and then just start showing a series of negative divergence until eventually you get these big drops, these significant drops, which is sort of, in a way, what happened here in May. You broke all the way down, and then just this little reaction of momentum caused the Qs to spike all the way back up here to 337, and from there we just had this monstrous move down from 336 all the way down to 315. So something like that is possibly in the cards. Again, here we have not broken this down line, this last sort of line of defense and momentum. So yeah, definitely momentum could mess around in this area for a while before breaking down, but we do indeed have our first sign of negative divergence here in this trend, which you can see. I've got a trend line in play here today. I just placed this from here, these tops, one on July 7th, one on July 14th, showing a clear negative divergence. What's probably going to happen, something like this, right? Sideways chop, and then break, and then, markets don't necessarily like to do what everybody thinks they're going to do. So we probably come around here, just like I was showing on the SQQQ, and screw around maybe for a week, 2 weeks of trading until we get that final downtrend and capitulation to the downside, where obviously we will be looking to pick up support, right? Somewhere in these areas for another nice leg to the upside. That's the plan. But right now, I want everybody to be on high alert and very cautious. It looks like potentially we are going through a topping process here on the Qs, but again, to me, it's only for potential pullback, which to me is good. Get some price relief and get ready for another move to the upside. But again, guys, it all plays into what we are seeing in the charts. I don't like to plan weeks ahead in advance. I just like to have a general game plan of trading, what I believe and what I think is going to happen. But if I'm proven wrong, I will be the very, very first one to hop back on board to the upside. Now, how could that play out? I won't go back to the charts of the SQQQ. I will show you right here what it would take for the inverse of what I just said to happen, and markets start moving higher. Yes, on the 1 hour, as we discussed a second ago, this would be extremely significant if we were able to break these levels and start setting this level 365 as support on this 1 hour time frame. That to me would be significant. If this line here of support could hold, that would be significant. And also on this trend, if for whatever reason we broke this one, but this line of support, momentum support, held, and we broke back above this, which I suppose is a possibility too. It's just not my scenario number one, just because of all those positive divergent bottoms and that breakout we're seeing on the SQQQ. Could happen, I don't know, but this to me is exactly what it would take. But guys, if this were to happen and we were to mess around here for 2-3 weeks of trading and break out to the upside, this would be a significantly strong entry point for another move to the upside if that were to happen. But right now, everything's on hold. I believe we're in for a little bit of a correction, most likely coming down to somewhere in these support levels here. I think that's what's going to happen, but it's clear to me right now is the time to stay out of your long positions. Start being defensive and proactive with all your positions, especially all your entries right now. Next 2 weeks of trading look to potentially be very volatile. Warning signs are in here for a top. Let's see what happens, guys. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Yeah, one more time. If you have not yet done so, please go down below, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Make sure I'm going to be following this religiously on the Qs and the SPY over the next couple weeks to see if we indeed are able to get this massive breakout to the upside, or if what I think is going to happen, that all this momentum breaks to the downside. We start showing this continuing series of negative divergent tops, and we start the plunge back to these areas somewhere down here for support, whether that be a horizontal support here or this diagonal holds. This is all going to be where we're going to be needing to pay attention carefully to look for bottom formations in momentum, all that type of stuff we do here at Momentum Charting. So again, make sure you're subscribed to the channel for all the updates. Let YouTube know you want to see all the next updates on the Qs, the SPY, everything I'm going to be doing the next couple weeks. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, Alex with Momentum Charting. I will see you all in the next video. Probably put another one out sometime today in a different stock. I might do Apple. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to hit on tonight. But again, thank you so much. See everybody again soon. Bye for now.